Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I was wondering if you get a chance, could you help me out with these two questions? First question is, can we donate to any masajids, or do they have to be Salafi? Will I get a sin if I donated to a masjid, organization, school, etc., and they happen to do things that go against the way of the Salaf? All they said in the description box, for example, when donating to an Islamic school, was that they were going to teach them about the religion. But I have no idea what they're really going to teach them about, or what they're really going to teach them. Question number 2. What is the concept of taking the good and leaving the bad? Do I have to listen to only speakers that are known to be Salafi? What about learning other subjects apart from Aqidah? Can we take that type of knowledge from them? For example, Yasir Qadhi's Seerah videos or lives of the companions of Nu'man Ali Khan teaching me Quranic Arabic. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. As far as the first question, then Allah Azza wa Jal tells us, وَمَا تُقَدِّمُوا, Allah says anything that you put forth for your own self, your own soul of khair, Allah says that you will find it bi'idhnillahi ta'ala bigger and greater with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Bigger and greater with Allah. Anything that you put forth for yourself of good. So you give it to a masjid, you give it to a center, they're Muslims. Are they Salafi Muslims, Jama'at Tabligh, Sufi Muslims, Ikhwan al-Muslimin? What they do with the money is secondary. What's important is that the money is coming out of your pocket and you have this sincere intention of giving it for the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That what you put forth for yourself. That's one way of looking at it. Next is, or another way of looking at it is, if you feel, Assalamu alaikum Sheikh, if you feel that these Muslims are very ignorant and they're very harmful and they are causing destruction to Islam and the Muslims and clearly spreading misguidance, clearly spreading innovation, clearly going against the rules of Allah and His Messenger, then don't give your money. Don't give your money. Because at best, it's questionable. And at worst, it's haram to give the money. For you to directly support someone that's doing a disservice to the deen. That's someone that's harming the deen. Whether they're Muslim or kafir. Muslim or not. Everybody understand this? A Muslim can do a disservice to the religion as well. Just as a non-Muslim could do it. As far as if they're just ignorant Muslims and they don't address or they don't call themselves or label themselves to be upon a certain group or a certain way, obviously the term Salafi has been a term or word that's been abused in the 20th and the 21st century. It's been abused, unfortunately. It's been disrespected. It's been worn out and stretched thin. It's become a cheap word that anybody can say. I'm Salafi, you're Salafi, we're Salafi, we're Salafi. Me and him, we're friends. We differ on something, the next day, you're no longer Salafi. Me and you are friends. You get an opportunity that I don't get to be an imam, to do a khutbah, to marry your sister, you're no longer Salafi. Me and you're my student, I'm your teacher. We differ on an issue, I'm a deviant, I'm no longer Salafi. It's been abused by people today. Someone who doesn't know Alif Bata, he doesn't know his right from his left hand, eating, making istinja. And he's a master of the way of the Salaf. It's sad. It's a very sad reality. And a lot of misconceptions, misunderstandings, a lot of extremism, and a lot of ignorance and nonchalantness with regards to this term. So we don't have the time to talk about that right now. Just because someone labels himself Salafi means nothing. And just because a person does not label himself to be Salafi means nothing. Means nothing whatsoever. If I say I'm a tough guy, I'm a gangster, what does that mean, Abu Sa'id? Means nothing. Means nothing. You could be a punk, you could be a coward. Everybody understands means nothing. A real tough guy is somebody that doesn't what? Go around pronouncing I'm a tough guy. But when it's time to fight or do whatever, he what? He proves himself to be tough and more. And an actual coward is a coward who goes around and says this and he says that. And when the heat comes, he was what? Tucks his tail when he runs. So talk is cheap. Just because a person says they're Salafi does not mean that they're what? Salafi. Just because a Muslim does not say I'm Salafi doesn't mean that he's not following the Salaf. That's a misconception. That's wrong. Just because it says organic on the package, it does not mean that the food is actually what? Organic. It could be a hoax, a lie. It's fake. It's false. Everybody understand this? What's important is the contents of the package. So that's first and foremost. So therefore, if you have doubt, that's one thing. If you know for sure that these people are clearly against the Kitab and the Sunnah, then don't give your money. If you don't know that, it's a general basic school, a general Muslim school or center, bismillah, give the wealth. Because it's only going to be what? For your sake. As Allah Azza wa Jalla tells us in the Quran, that which you good, that which you do of good. An ant, an atom, a piece of grain. Allah Azza wa Jalla says what? Yarahu. He'll see it on the day of judgment. So oftentimes we become bewildered. We become caught up. We become stuck in thinking about the next man. And we forget about ourselves. We forget about ourselves. We worry about this one, that one, this one, that one. I'm not going to give you the salams because you're such and such. But if you give the salams, is it a hasanah for me? Is it a good deed for me? Maybe I'm helping out my own soul before I even think about what? You. But I'm so bent on negativity and just driving you into the ground. And this is a sickness and a disease. And this is something that Allah Azza wa Jal prohibit us from doing and prohibit us from being like. Not to be like those who forgot themselves. Not to be like those who forgot Allah. Allah says, فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُمْ. Allah says, and He made them forget about themselves. Don't be like those who forgot Allah. And then Allah made them forget about themselves. You forget about Allah. It's no longer the Quran. It's no longer the Sunnah. It's about a scholar. It's about this. It's about that. You forget about Allah. And Allah makes you forget about what? Yourself. So you still worrying about the next man being a deviant, being wrong, being incorrect. You forget about taking care of your own soul. It's dangerous. So that's my advice with regards to the sadaqah. As far as the second question, then it's something that we've explained many times in many lectures and many classes. And to keep things simple and to summarize things, it depends on who the person is taking the good and leaving off the bad. A talib al-ilm is not like a layman. A layman is not like a talib al-ilm. A beginner student is not like someone who's advanced, someone who's been studying for some years, who's been learning for some years, who knows principles, who knows certain things. Just make an example of a child. How do you feed a baby? How do you feed an infant, a toddler, 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old? And how do you feed a 10-year-old child? And how do you feed your 15-year-old daughter? It's different. Your 15-year-old daughter, she can eat by herself. She knows what to eat, what not to eat. The 6-year-old child is not like a 2-year-old baby. You give a baby food. Everything in the bottle is edible. Everything is sweet and soft, tasty. Child can do whatever the child wants to do with it. You don't have to worry about it swallowing, choking, or getting harmed. That's not the same as a baby who's 5, who can pick up a piece and put down a piece. Everybody understand this? Chicken breast, white meat. It's not the same as a drumstick, which is a bone. It's not the same. A fish, a fillet of fish is not the same as an entire grilled fish, in which there's skin, there's bones, there's eyes. It's not the same. So someone that can discern, someone that can pick up something and put down something, someone that can see this you eat, this you don't eat, this you take, that you don't take. It's not like someone who's a clueless layman in the state of a baby who doesn't understand what not to eat, what not to eat. You give him a fish, it'll choke on the bone. You have to give him some mushy fish, soft, white fish, flaky fish, flounder, cod. Everybody understand this? So this is a very important principle in Islam. A student of knowledge who has some background, he can study with people that a layman may not necessarily be able to study with. Everybody understand this? And also it depends on the speaker. Now, we're not here to get into this in detail. We don't have the time, as we just said. Nor are we here for agenda. Nor are we here for immature food fights, as many people like to do. Name calling, this one, that one, flan. That's not what I do. And anyone who knows me knows that. Like it if you like it. Dislike it if you dislike it. I really don't care, honestly. That's fine. But what we do it is how we do it. So just because someone is claimed, or you say that he's off, he's deviant, he's this, he's that. Once again, that does not mean that that's the reality. Rather, there's a great deal of envy. There's a great deal of jealousy, and there's a great deal of aggression, and there's a great deal of selfishness, and there's a great deal of misunderstanding. You say something, and what you actually said is right. I'm wrong, criticizing you, but I tell my followers, no, he's wrong, trust me. And I twist, and I misconstrue, and I play with words, and I do things to make it seem like I'm right and you're wrong. Everybody understand that? Let alone the fact that Abu Sa'id, if you did give a lecture and you said something that's wrong, what does that mean? Does that mean that you have no good You studied for years. You've been trained by the ulama. We can't take nothing from you because you made a mistake and you want to recant that mistake. So in other words, basically what you're saying is, don't take from Abu Sa'id because he has mistakes, but take from us because what? We don't have mistakes. Now obviously they're not going to say that, but they are saying that. They're saying that with their actions. Don't take from him because he has what? Mistakes. But take from us because what? We don't have mistakes. So once you start thinking that you don't have mistakes and you're perfect and you know everything, you've lost everything. You've lost the whole concept of being a slave and a servant of Allah Azza wa Jalla, that you're perfect and you have no error. And that's also extremely what? Dangerous. Now there's many, many details with regards to the answer. With regards to, as we said, the speaker. What is the speaker? What did he actually say? What did he actually do? What's the background of the speaker? Is he actually someone of sunnah, someone of ilm, or other than that? Everybody understand this? Is there an alternative for the speaker? Is there someone else that's doing the same thing he's doing? It's details. There is no black and white answer to this question. And those who say, don't take anything from anybody, that's wrong. Those who say, sit with them, learn with them, and taking everything, that's also what? That's wrong. Rather the middle way, the middle course. It has to be tafsir of who is the speaker, who is the learner, what is being said. It has to be detail. And if these details are not mentioned, and it becomes just a black and white, clean-cut type of thing, then that's where we have the chaos that we live in today. The chaos that we live in today. Don't take nothing from him. Take everything from him. Don't listen to him, listen to him. You're Salafi, I'm Salafi. You have chaos. And the general people are wasted. And the dawah is wasted. Islam is wasted. And the kuffar walk up and down the street and we're bickering and fighting over each other because we don't have the proper ilm. Wallahu alam. Next question says,